Locating places on the earth. First question is that what is a map and what are its components? A map is a representation or a drawing of a specific area showing its features and layout. It can depict a small area, village, town, district, or even an entire country. The three major important components of a map are distance, direction, and symbol. Distance indicates the actual ground distance between 2 points, whereas direction shows us north, south, east, or west, and symbols shows the visual representation of different features such as landmark, building, etc. Now we'll talk about the different types of maps and explain them. So the main three types of maps are physical, political, and thematic. The physical map shows natural features such as mountain, ocean, river, etc. Whereas a political map displays human-made boundaries and details such as countries, states, etc. And thematic map focuses on specific type of information or themes like display of population density, rainfall distribution, etc. When we discuss about maps, we ought to discuss about atlas. So what is an atlas and what are its uses? So atlas is a collection of maps. It contains map of different regions, countries, continents, etc. It helps us in studying and understanding the physical and political features of various locations, and it is used in schools, offices, and by travelers for their references. As we talked about the main components of map, we talked about symbols. But why are these symbols important in maps, and how do they help in providing us the information? These symbols are essential components of map as they visually represent different features and makes the map easier to understand. They simplify complex information instead of drawing detailed images, and they are universally recognized. They are very efficient representations, and maps can display a lot of information in compact format using these symbols such as landmarks, roads, and buildings. We even see scale on maps. So what is a map scale and how does it help represent large areas on a small surface? A map scale is the ratio of distance on the map to the actual distance on the ground. It allows large areas such as cities, state, countries to be represented accurately on a small piece of paper. Like on a small city map, 1 centimeter on the map represents 500 meters on the ground, and the scale is written as 1 centimeter is equal to 500 meters. And on a larger map, such as the map of India, the scale might represent 1 centimeter as 500 kilometers. Now we will move to the cardinal directions. And why are they important in navigation? These cardinal directions are the 4 main points on the compass used to indicate orientation and navigation. They are north, east, south, and west. And they are important because they help individuals navigate by providing a reference point. They allow accurate description of location and orientation. Next, we'll discuss the different types of symbols that are used in maps and what do they represent. You must have observed that maps use various symbols to represent different geographical and man-made features. These symbols make maps easy to read and interpret. Now, common symbols and their representations is the railway lines, roads, boundaries, water bodies, religious places, posted police station, settlements, graveyard, trees, grass, etc. Next, we'll talk about latitude and how are they measured. And we are going to explain their significance also. If you have observed a globe, you must have seen latitude. This latitude is an imaginary horizontal line on the earth that measures the distance north or south of the equator. The equator is marked as 0 degree latitude, the north pole is 90 degree north and the south pole is 90 degrees south. Latitudes are measured in degrees, with each parallel circle becoming smaller as one moves away from the equator. It helps us to determine locations on the Earth's surface. There are different zones, that is climate zones, that may be torrid, moderate, or frigid zone. Our next question is that what is a parallel of latitude and how does the size of these parallel changes as we move away from the equator? So again, a parallel of latitude is an imaginary line that runs east to west around the earth parallel to the equator. The equator forms the largest circle, that is latitude is 0 degrees. And as we move northward or southward, the circle formed by the parallels become smaller, and at the poles the parallel is reduced to point 90 degree north to 90 degree south. Now we'll understand the relation between latitude and climate. So there's a direct connection between latitude and the climate due to the varying angles of sunlight received. Around the equator, that is torrid zone, here the region experiences hot temperature year round, and this zone receives direct sunlight making it warm. There is a temperate zone. As latitude increases, climate also becomes moderate. So these regions experiences distinct seasons. Whereas polar regions or frigid zone, near the poles the climate is cold and harsh and sunlight reaches at a very low angle resulting in lower temperature. Now after latitude are longitudes and how they measured, and we are going to explain their importance. Longitude again are the imaginary vertical lines that are run from North Pole to the South Pole, and they are also called meridians of longitude. The reference point for measuring longitude is the prime meridian, which passes through Greenwich, London, and it is marked as 0 degree longitude. They are again measured in degrees only. And for example, New York's longitude is 74 degree west and Delhi is 77 degree east, whereas Tokyo is 140 degree east. The importance: the time measurement, since the earth rotates eastward, different places experience different times of the day, and longitudes are used to calculate time zones. They help in navigation by determining the east-west position of a place. Right now you heard about prime meridian. So what is this prime meridian and why was it chosen as the reference point for measuring longitudes? As I said, the prime meridian is a 0 degree longitude line which serves as the reference point for measuring longitudes. But why was it chosen? See, in 1884, during the International Meridian Conference, several nations agreed to adopt the meridian passing through Greenwich, London as the international standard for prime meridian. This decision was made to establish a universal reference for time and navigation. It divides Earth into the eastern and western hemisphere, and it is used as the baseline for determining GMT, or we can say Greenwich Mean Time. Have you ever heard about the movement of the Earth or the rotation of the Earth and how does it affect time zones? Let's explain it. Let's understand it. The Earth's rotation creates time differences across the different longitudes. Earth rotation: the Earth rotates eastward once every 24 hours, covering 360 degree of longitude. Therefore, the Earth rotates 15 degree of longitude every hour. And time zones: when it is morning in one country, it's midday in another, or even night in the third country. This is the variation is due to Earth's rotation and the position of the longitudes. We have discussed about prime meridian. But what was the ancient prime meridian and why was it significant? Long before the Greenwich meridian was established, India had its own prime meridian known as Madhya Rekha, or the middle line, and it passed through the city of Ujjain, which was a center for astronomy. The famous Indian astronomer Varahamihira lived and worked in Ujjaini around 1500 years ago, contributing to the astronomical studies. He was aware of the concepts of latitude, longitude, and the need for zero or prime meridian for accurate calculations. So Ujjaini meridian became the reference line for all the Indian astronomical text. Now, do you think that the Earth's rotation affects time zones? And what is the relation between longitude and local time? See, the Earth rotates from west to east around its axis, making a complete rotation every 24 hours. Since the Earth is, say, 360 degree in circumference, it rotates 15 degree per hour. So when we divide 360 with 24, the answer is 15. Each 15 degree of longitude corresponds to 1 hour difference in local time. Moving eastward from prime meridian, 1 hour is added to each 15 degrees. Moving westward, 1 hour is subtracted, and when we move to the other side, 1 hour is added. Now, what is International Date Line or IDL, and what is its importance? Now, the International Date Line is an imaginary line running roughly along the 180 degree longitude. Its purpose is serve as the boundary where the date changes by a day. When we travel eastward, you subtract, and when we travel westward, you add a day. It doesn't follow the exact 180 degree line in some places. It deviates slightly to avoid splitting countries into different days. Now, one of the most important thing, that what is standard time and why do countries adopt it, and how is Indian standard time determined? So standard time is the uniform time set for a region or a country based on a specific longitude. And why do countries adopt standard time? So it would be impractical for each place to follow its local time, as it would vary by longitude. So standard time ensures consistency and make communication, transportation and trade easier. So Indian standard time is based on 82.5 degree meridian, which passes through Mirzapur, India, and it's 5 hours 30 minutes ahead of Greenwich Mean Time. So time zone calculations, if GMT is 12 pm, IST would be 5:30 pm. I hope you people have understood this chapter. In case you have any queries, you can put your question in the comment box, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel.